On October 4th, 2025, Ben Shapiro posted his review of one of the most critically acclaimed movies of the year, One Battle After Another.
And at one point she says that the gun is for fun, but her genitalia, that is for fighting.
This video he posted is, in my opinion, an unsuccessful work of film criticism. And you might be thinking, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Give me everything you got for this wet-ass P-word. I mean, a bucket and a mop?
So I clicked on his video just to see what the general reaction was, and I was shocked to see that the vast majority of the comments under the review were uniformly negative, like across the political spectrum. I mean, some of these comments are, at this point you have to wonder what the hell happened in this review. So I watched the video, and here I am to talk about it. Is it low-hanging fruit? Probably. But it is such a bad work of criticism that it is kind of instructive. It highlights mistakes that I see many people make when critiquing art, but just to a heightened degree, because it is so bad.
I know, this is so stupid. The whole thing's it's such a stupid movie.
And I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try to pretend this video exists in a vacuum. I'm going to pretend I have no knowledge of Ben Shapiro or his politics, and I'm going to look closely at this review and point out what I think it does wrong. Since Ben doesn't say this in his own review, light spoilers for the film One Battle After Another. Ben Shapiro starts this review with an admirable amount of energy.
First of all, not good. Do not like. Bad.
Personally, I don't mind people starting reviews like this. It reminds me in some ways of Roger Ebert's famous review of North. When people have like an honest reaction to a movie and get like emotionally worked up to something, I think that's nice. So let's see how much Ben Shapiro really hated this movie.
The direction is top tier because it's Paul Thomas Anderson, meaning it's a beautiful looking film. It moves quickly. The music is actually quite good. I thought that the score was effective. The cinematography is beautiful. There is a car chase scene near the end that is well choreographed.
Despite having great direction, gorgeous cinematography, a great pace, amazing music, and great action, is he totally sure that he hated it?
And the movie sucks because the writing's bad, okay? So
bad writing, that'll do it. Except he said that it has a good pace, didn't he? And that's part of writing. Regardless, if you like everything about a movie except for the writing, that's like most of my favorite 3 out of 5 movies. Late period Terrence Malick, Get Behind Me, I'll Protect You. It's just weird to have this level of animosity towards a movie that, on a craft level, is very good. So I'm watching this video in a vacuum. I don't know who Ben Shapiro is. I'm thinking, there's something off here. There's something off in the way that he's reacting to this film. What specifically bothered him? We'll get to that. But for some reason, he spends like half of this review complaining about how stupid the names are.
A person named Ghetto Pat Calhoun, who is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and Perfidia Beverly Hills. Again, all of the names here are supposed to be on the nose, sort of slightly surrealistic, but they're not good. Like Perfidia Beverly Hills, because it turns out that she's perfidious. Get it? Like Perfidia. Asking Sean Penn's character, he's the villain, who is Colonel Stephen Lockjaw. I kid you not, again, these names are bad. Stephen Lockjaw is trying to join a white nationalist group, a white Christian nationalist group called the Christmas Adventurers Club. I know, this is so stupid. The whole thing's it's such a stupid movie. It's so dumb.
I don't know, maybe there's a point that the names are dumb and obvious. Ghetto Pat isn't like the character's legal name. These are names that they've acquired and given themselves in the French 75. They're self-mythologizing names. Even so, Thomas Pynchon, the author of the book this is partially based on, Vineland, is known for having ridiculous names for characters. If he was watching Dr. Strangelove and he was like, oh my God, why is his name Dr. Strangelove? It's just stupid. No one's named Dr. Strangelove. So already we're seeing the pattern for what he's going to do for the entire summary section of this video. Instead of giving any charitability to the filmmakers and asking, well, maybe this was intentional, he's just going to assume that because to him, it immediately seems dumb, it must be dumb. He also makes another assumption about the movie, that the first part of it takes place 16 years ago, but there's no point in the text of the film that says that's what it is.
And they seem like they're out of time because they really should be from like the late 1960s, but actually this part of the movie is supposed to be set some 16 years ago, so like 2008, 2009.
In fact, he's trying to ground this movie in like a very literal world. I could continue on this path forever and just go point by point, and this video would be an hour long. But this gets me to my first general point about why this is a bad review. At every point, instead of asking whether or not something was intentional, he's describing scenes as if they are obvious mistakes. Literally, half of this video is him just describing what happens in the movie with a tone that's like weirded out. Like,
the opening scene is her asking him to get up, but not like to his feet. And so you get a very long shot of his crotch.
It's just assuming that because it existed, because it happened on screen, means that it is objectionable somehow.
So she's bombing things with Leonardo DiCaprio and she's getting pregnant. And at one point she says that the gun is for fun, but her genitalia, that is for fighting. There's a shot from the film that you've seen of her very heavily pregnant, firing off what looks like an M4.
At the bare minimum, a good reviewer should try to meet the work on its level. At even more of a bare minimum, he should try to explain why something doesn't really make sense. For instance,
who's playing this uptight white Christian nationalist who is turned on by black female revolutionaries. Get it? Because white Christian nationalists really, they have a sadomasochistic relationship with black female revolutionaries. In any case.
No, Ben, I don't get it. To explain one thing, he just repeats the words. Like, it becomes clear that he believes this movie has one single purpose. We'll talk about that in a bit. This gets me to my second main point. Just because the film depicts something doesn't mean that it's endorsing it. This seems like such an obvious point, and maybe it is. I've listened to this video so many times now that it just blows my mind how much he's not getting it. The characters are all very flawed. The first 30 or 40 minutes of this movie are about this revolutionary organization, the French 75, that truly seems out of time because the book Vineland that this movie is loosely based on is about the fallout of the revolutionary organizations in the 60s and all of that revolutionary fervor and what it was like in the 80s. And he's transplanting this vibe, this feeling, onto a more modern context. It feels anachronistic because that's the point. It's a farcical thing. It's like satirical. There's a reason why Steven Spielberg, hardly a revolutionary, said that this movie reminded him so much of Dr. Strangelove.
I have not seen a movie that is so tonally a relative to Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove.
So much of Ben Shapiro's hang-up in this movie is thinking that Perfidia, Tiana Taylor's character, has been endorsed by the filmmakers as a wonderful example of how to behave in the world. Like, what more do you want? Like, the movie goes out of its way to point out that she is doing things wrong, that these characters are doing stupid things. Maybe they believe in something noble. They're going about it in a way that harms people. The reason why audiences are loving this movie, general audiences, what one might affectionately call normies, they're having a great time because it's a movie that is kind of like Star Wars. It's got drama, it got action, it's a thriller, it's incredibly funny. It brings us parts of our culture that we recognize, issues in our society that we recognize, and heightens it and exaggerates it so that we can have fun and laugh and have a catharsis and get excited. It's fun to make fun of a white Christian nationalist group called the Christmas Adventurers Club. Ben's review is building up to this moment. The final couple minutes of this video are when he really unleashes the thesis of what he's trying to say.
And that's the end of the movie, except that you get a tag. And the tag at the end of the movie is Willa gets a letter. She's had a letter from her mom.
And the letter basically says, we failed in the past. We didn't succeed. Maybe the future generation can do better.
And the letter doesn't actually tell her to maybe lead a better life than she led, or to abandon these revolutionary idiots who are accomplishing nothing. Instead, the letter says that she wishes she had been a better mom, but also she wishes that she had fought the revolution better, and the daughter decides that she too will be a revolutionary.
First off, why would Perfidia's character tell her daughter to abandon the cause that she believes in? It makes sense for her to want her daughter to be better and to be smarter and to do a better job than her and to continue fighting the cause that she believes in. I feel like in Ben's perfect world, the letter would just read, Dear audience members, the actions depicted on screen were bad and people should not do them. Please pick up your trash when you exit the theater. And this gets to my final point about this review. If you need art to handhold you with a message, you're going to have a limited experience no matter what. This movie is great because it's, first off, wildly entertaining, but it's also created such interesting conversations about what it is saying politically, and I think you can read a lot into it because it is a work of art. I don't think that Paul Thomas Anderson is a didactic filmmaker who's trying to tell you what to believe. To condemn the movie because it does not paint exactly what you believe ideologically, it's not a good way to interpret art. Personally, you can go ahead and do that, but you're going to have a limited experience. One of my favorite filmmakers is Clint Eastwood. I don't agree with Clint Eastwood politically, but he is an artist. And you can see that in the movies he makes. Like, his conservatism plays into his art in a very interesting way. And that's the difference between someone who is making art and someone who is trying to propagandize. There's nothing in one battle after another that feels propagandistic. Ben Shapiro even says that all of other Paul Thomas Anderson's other movies don't propagandize. Well, maybe this one doesn't either, but because it's touching on topics that to you trigger you, you can't avoid to frame it ideologically. So here's the point where Ben lets it all out.
If this sounds like a total mess to you, it's because it is. The basic suggestion is a conspiracy theory in which the United States is run by white supremacist Christian nationalists, and all people of color and a few nice, incompetent fellow travelers like Bob are going to take on that entire system. And that system must be taken on at the cost of family, at the cost of friendship, at the cost of decency, at the cost of basic human capacity for success.
It's funny because when I watch this movie, and everyone's going to get a different takeaway watching this, but when I watch it, what moved me so much was that it's a story about a guy who, I'm sure in his character's mind, he feels like he's given up the fight. He's kind of checked out from society, but he spent 16 years raising an amazing person. This whole movie is really about family, friendship, being decent. Benicio del Toro's character is kind of an example of being a great community leader, taking care of people in times of crisis. This is like the beautiful humanism in this film. If it's preaching anything, it's preaching be kind to one another, raising children. It can be a noble, even revolutionary act. Like, you can do good just by being a decent person. He's done good in his life, and that's kind of like what's beautiful about this film, to me at least.
It is better, in other words, to be a complete loser who wastes your life bombing things randomly in order to free illegal immigrants to run willy-nilly across the border than to be like a productive citizen of that society. At no point is that actually considered by anyone, by the way. Like, just to be a productive citizen of society.
I love this line of thinking because he could just say this about any movie. You know, why didn't Llewellyn Moss just consider being a productive member of society in No Country for Old Men instead of taking the money? Like, why didn't he just do that? Luke Skywalker, maybe just be a productive member of society? Did you ever think about that? What if the character in the movie just decided to be normal? That'd be more interesting. And finally, of course, Ben Shapiro has to ratchet this up to the next level.
I've talked about the permission structures for violence that led to, for example, the murder of Charlie Kirk. This entire film is that. There's a conspiratorial group of white Christian nationalists who are targeting people of color. Those people of color have to band together along with a few moron fellow travelers like Bob in order to take on that conspiracy, and they should bomb things and they should kill people.
This is the type of thinking that leads to mass censorship. That leads people to try to ban video games because it leads to violence. Like, when you're talking about art, when you're talking about censoring things, you can take this to any extreme. This is the same logic that leads to mass censorship. It's bullshit. So to recap, the three really bad tendencies that I find in this review are not bothering to meet the movie on its level at all, assuming that depicting something on screen means that the filmmakers are endorsing that thing, and believing that art should moralize, that it should have a moral component.
First of all, she had to clarify whether wet-ass P-word was a description of the P-word or whether one of the clinical symptoms here was also diarrhea.
All of this talk about art and media literacy is reminding me of my old college days, you know, when I was young, stressed, and anxious. Did you know that the University of Chicago plunges into chaos every year over an insane 20-page scavenger hunt? This is a real, genuine phenomenon that I wouldn't have known about if not for a new Nebula original series premiering November 5th. Scav looks to me like a really fun time getting to watch anxious college kids lose sleep over something besides their GPA. 3 top teams race to complete a scavenger hunt, resulting in some silly stuff. But what has me really excited to watch this is that this comes from Wendover Productions. So kind of a dead dove produces some of the finest stuff, but this video, you know, it's a testament to the strength of Nebula as a streaming service that this kind of brilliant content from Wendover can coexist alongside my 30-second shitposts. Scav, along with a ton of other exclusive content from your favorite creators, is available on Nebula. Nebula is the largest creator-owned streaming platform in the world. It's where all your favorite creators like Legal Eagle, Hello Future Me, create exciting new content. There's a ton of half the internet original content being produced, from Jet Lag to 17 and Barbie. Now, a lot of you joke that you get your news from my sketches, but you can get actual quality news from great channels on Nebula. Spots about how we talk about art and especially how we discuss movies, and can usually find something to watch in like 2 seconds. If you sign up using my link at go.nebula.tv/mancarrything or use the link below, you can get Nebula for 40% off, which is $36 a year or $3 a month. You can also get a monthly plan for $6 a month. And for those of you that want to share everything Nebula has to offer with your family and friends, Nebula is now offering monthly, annual, and lifetime gift cards. Use the link gift.nebula.tv/mancarryingthing to give a month of Nebula to a friend for just $6, a year for $36, or a lifetime membership for $300, which, without my link, costs $500. Thank you for watching, and thanks as always for supporting the channel. Hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.